Today, you are going to get 11 pieces of advice every Christian needs to run a profitable online business. And the last reason is a humongous reason why many don't make any money online. Each piece of advice comes from one of my recent tweets, so I'm going to read the tweet and then I've simplified all of them into 2 or 3 words, so it's simple for everybody who's watching this to understand. You know ads work because you see them every day, all day. If they didn't, you wouldn't see them so much because advertisers would stop paying for them. Stop thinking ads don't work and figure out how to get them to work for you, because you know ads work. I was thinking about this recently. I was thinking about ads and just running ads and how so many people are afraid to run ads because they have this belief that because it didn't work for them, they maybe tried it before and it didn't produce profit for them, they all of a sudden feel like, you know, ads just don't work. And ads do work. And I was just thinking about this just on a simple level. We all understand that ads work because we see so many ads. The more ads you see, the more proof that you have that ads work. And that's what just the essence of the tweet is, because we see all these ads every single day, and that is a simple way for us to know inherently that ads work. Because if they weren't working, advertisers wouldn't be continuing to pay money for them. They would stop paying for them. So we have to get to a place in life. You have to realize that stop thinking that ads don't work and focus your attention on figuring out how to get them to work for you. Because deep down, you know ads work. And just to simplify this first piece of advice for you, ads work. You don't even have to spend loads of money every single day to run ads and to have success from it. But that is a better thing for you to be figuring out and for you to be thinking about in your online business. How can I run ads so I don't no longer feel like ads don't work? But you're in a position where you can say to yourself, I have to run ads. And not only am I running ads, but the ads that I'm spending money on are actually paying me money. That's where you want to be with your ads, where you spend, let's say for example, $100 on ads and you get back $100 or more on ads. When you can do that, you'd be a fool not to run ads. And that's why you need to figure ads out as quickly as possible, because you know ads work. Stop waiting because people around you are moving slow. Put your foot down. I was driving recently and I caught myself just at this particular point when I was driving, noticing like just there's space to the left, there's space to the right for me to move forward. There's like basically space all the way down in ahead of me. And I'm just caught myself thinking to myself, I was there in the moment just saying to myself, why are you not speeding up? Why are you not putting your foot down when you can see clearly there's a runway, there's room for you to move into and to just spread your wings, as they say? Why are you just standing around, so to speak, because all of the cars around you, no one around you is bold enough to push forward. Everybody else is just standing still. This is something which obviously I was thinking about when I was driving, but it applies so clearly in business, and especially for Christians. So many of us, I've been there before. One of the reasons why it took me so long to start creating this sort of content was because one of the reasons was, well, where are all the other Christians who should be doing this? Well, many of the other Christians who should be doing this were probably similar to me, afraid, saying, why am I going to do this content, etc., right? Making whatever excuses. Sometimes you are the first person to make the step forward. And I don't even mean the first person ever. You may just be the first person in your environment. And don't be afraid of that. Just realize, as you can see, there's space all the way in front for you to move into. Just put your foot down and start moving and stop hesitating. I simplify this by saying start, stop waiting. And that's what we need to do. We need to start more of the things that God desires us to do. And we need to stop waiting. Stop waiting for some miracle moment, as I've described in different videos before. Start and stop waiting. Create more content than you consume. That's the challenge. And if you're not used to this can be a very difficult challenge. So many of us get caught in consumption mode. We are so focused on consuming more and more content because we believe that the more content we consume, the better we're going to be. That's just not true, right? We can consume content on how to create videos and the equipment, even though we've watched so many videos on how to create content, even though we've watched all the videos on equipment and we've got all of the equipment, even though we can continue to think about how to deliver and to package and how to sell and how to do all of this different stuff. The important thing that we have to get in the habit of doing is creating more than consuming. And this is a challenge. It's a real challenge. Imagine however much content you've consumed today. Imagine spending that time or as much time creating content. Today, I've spent about 4 to 5 hours on creating content, right? That means that's 4 to 5 hours less I have to consume content. But let's say, for example, I start consuming content now. I can consume 4 hours of content and I still won't have consumed as much content as I created. This is a challenge, especially in the beginning, but this is something I'm focusing on more and more as time goes on. Israel, create more content than you consume. It's a challenge, but I know you're up for the challenge and I know you can complete the challenge, but you have to start in order for you to realize this for yourself. Just to simplify this to 3 words or less, I had create and then a more than sign, consume. Create more than you consume. If you begin creating much more than you consume, you will be in a much different place in 90 days. Trust me. The difference between a fool and a wise person is one acknowledged they were a fool. I was thinking about this the other day and it's just so mind-boggling to me. It's like, when you are in a pursuit for wisdom, when you are in a pursuit to learn more, the first thing you have to do in regards to being wise is to admit you are a fool. And this is something which has hit me for years and years and years. From the moment I really just started taking a pursuit of wisdom much more seriously than I was before, I just began to realize that, you know what? So many people think it's easy for people to look at people who are trying to pursue wisdom or trying to be wiser and think they're better than other people. No, wise people, we're not better than other people. We don't think we're better than the fool. This is the only difference between a fool and a wise person. A wise person admits at some point in life that they are a fool. That is the first thing you need to do in order to become wise. You have to admit, I'm lacking, I'm a fool in certain areas in order to become wise. That's the only difference. A fool and a wise person were both fools. The only difference was a fool didn't admit and acknowledge that he was a fool, whereas a wise person did. And that's the only difference. We have to remember every single day that we don't know everything. And it is hard to do for many people. That's why they will never acknowledge that they are a fool. We have to acknowledge that at some point we were a fool at selling. We were a fool at marketing. We were a fool at creating content. We were a fool at being faithful. All of these different things. But in order for you to get to being someone who can sell, someone who can market, someone who can create content, someone who can run a profitable online business, no matter what you do, the first thing you have to do is acknowledge that you are a fool in those areas so you can become wise. To simplify this, I've got 2 words. I just said admit ignorance. The faster you admit that you're ignorant in areas, the faster you can become wise in those areas, and those areas can start to pay you. Don't wait around. If you don't have a product, you are the product. Again, so many people don't realize this. The more I talk about, look, you have to have a product that you sell online. People, just in simple terms, if you don't have a product that you are selling, you are the product that's being sold. And I'm not saying this because I want you to start hating your employer or anything along those lines, but I need you to just be aware of it and just realize that if you are not selling something which is bringing you income, you are being sold. You are the thing which is being sold in order to generate the income. The difference is you are generating however much income you're making right now, and your employer, the business owner, is making much more. There's nothing stopping you from being a person who creates products and not just being the product. You see, I can record this video, but I've got products and services. I've got a product, for example, called 24/7 Leads. In this product, I teach them a framework that I learned from Jesus. I call it the Leads framework, and it shows people how to get leads rolling into their business 24/7. That's a product that I can sell anytime I like. So whether I'm recording this video right now, whether I'm asleep, whether I'm out, whether I'm having fun, whether it's a stressful day, regardless, because the product has been created, it is a product which continues to pay me every single day. Not too long ago, I came out with a product called Cashflow for Christians, where I show how any Christian can turn their hobbies, their skills, or their expertise into daily profits in as fast as 7 days or less. In that product, I'm showing Christians how to do what? Turn their everyday skills, hobbies, expertise into a digital product that makes them money on autopilot. Why? Because I'm helping Christians how to have products instead of just being the product. This is so simple, and a big problem that so many people face is thinking, they need to be some snake oil salesman. They need to be so salesy and pushy and beg people to buy their products. I don't beg anybody to buy any of my products, because the products get put in front of the people that need the help, and they're wise enough to make the decision for themselves. It's just that simple. I want this, so I pay, or I don't want this, so I don't pay. I don't need to beg, because when you learn how to sell the right way, you don't need to beg. All it is just service. So to simplify this in 3 words or less, I describe this as sell a product. The truth is, success doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing one thing well. Really and truly, the more we focus on doing one thing extremely well, the more successful we will be, especially in the short term. Why is that, Israel? It's because so many of us go through these phases. So many of us are still in this phase. I speak to Christians, business owners who are in these phases all the time, right? They are so focused on, look, I'm going to be working on my Instagram strategy, but then I'm working on building my email list, and then I'm working on running ads, and then I'm working on posting on 4 YouTube channels every single week, and then I'm focused on building my website, and then I'm focused on other stuff, and then I've got life, and I've got all these different stuff. Like, no, it's much harder to do those things, especially in the beginning, if you don't have the personnel, you don't have the skills, or you don't have the team in place to do it. It would be better for you to focus in on one thing. Okay, for this month or for this quarter of the year, I'm going to be focusing on creating digital products that can continue to pay me. So even if I'm in work, even if I'm at a meeting and my boss is stressing me out, or I get sick or anything along those lines, I have a product or products which continue to pay me and provide income for me, which can offset my monthly income. At some point, if you continue to focus on that income will replace your full-time income. And then you have the choice to say, well, I'm going to continue doing both, or I'm going to continue to focus on the other one, which is more closer to what I desire to do, is more passionate for me, is more liberating for me, it gives me more freedom, I can do it from anywhere in the world, etc. Right? But the point is, focus on one thing at a time, doing it well. As you get bigger and better, you can create systems and have systems in place and people in place to help you cover different bandwidth, cover more bandwidth. This is a mistake that so many people make. They're at the beginning stages and they're trying to do all of the stuff, when really you need to focus on one thing. Focus on the product you're selling. Focus on the content you are creating, etc. Don't say, well, I'm going to post 2 times a week on YouTube, and then I'm going to be posting every single day on Instagram, and then I'm going to be posting on TikTok, and then I'm going to be posting on all these other platforms, and then new platforms come, and then I'm going to be putting threads out there, and then I'm going to be creating ads, and I'm going to you're going to get overwhelmed. Focus on doing one thing well, and that will pay you enough to start branching out into doing other stuff as well. So in simple terms, do one thing. Instead of chasing money, chase wisdom, and money will chase you. This was such a gem of wisdom that has helped me so much, that I wish I was following from when I was in my first business that was making $10,000 plus a month. Because in that business, for large portions of it, at least towards the end anyway, I was just chasing money instead of chasing wisdom. And really, as the Bible says, right, wealth, riches, and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. And that's wisdom speaking there in Proverbs chapter 8 verse 18. One of my favorite verses in the Bible in regards to wisdom. I no longer chase money because I'm wiser now, when I realize I don't need to chase money. As the Bible says, chase wisdom, pursue wisdom, love wisdom. One of the things which wisdom attracts is money. So the more wisdom you chase, the more you pursue wisdom, the more, by law, that God has created, money will chase you. And that's what you want, because you can get tired chasing money. As the Bible says, the love of money is the root of all evil, right? And while some coveted for it, they erred from the faith, and they pierced themselves through with many sorrows, many grievous sorrows. I realized that the wise thing to do is not to chase money, but to chase wisdom, because as God says, the silver is his and the God is his in Haggai chapter 2 verse 8. So really, by pursuing wisdom, I'll be pursuing God. And the more I pursue God, the closer I'll be to him. And what is with God? All the silver and all the gold. Mind blown. So you mean, Israel, that I don't need to be chasing money left, right, and center. I can just chase wisdom and money and righteousness and durable riches, as the Bible says, can chase me? Yes. So to simplify this to 3 words or less, I had chase wisdom and then a more than sign, money. Chase wisdom more than money. Don't stop before you reach the gold. Keep digging. You're not too far from a gold mine. What I was thinking about recently was I was thinking about the movie The Shawshank Redemption, where Morgan Freeman is in prison for a long sentence, and then the guy comes to prison, Andy Dufresne, and I'm thinking about towards the end of the video where he escapes prison and he's climbing through dirt and all this disgusting stuff to get to what would be for him his destiny, his desired outcome, right? And as I thought about that, I was just thinking to myself, it's like, look, so many people stop. They don't realize that in order to get to your destiny, in order to get to your desired result, that normally comes through digging through a lot of dirt and a lot of disgusting stuff. So don't stop before you reach the gold. Keep digging, keep going through. Don't give up just before the gold is there. You are not too far from a gold mine, but you're never going to get to it if you start digging in one direction and then stop, and you start digging in another direction and then stop, and then digging in another direction and stop, and then digging in another direction and then stop, and then you start looking all around the place, digging in and stopping. You're going to have many shallow digs and no deep dig, which is actually where the gold is going to be. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier on in the video about success doesn't come from doing loads of different stuff. It comes from doing one thing well. Dig one hole and just keep digging. The gold is waiting for you. So in simple terms, don't stop digging. God made you to be a king or a queen, but you get to decide what type of king or queen you will be. If more of us realized and really meditated on the fact that we are royalty, things will change, because it's extremely hard for someone who's royalty to act as if they're not royalty. But this is what so many of us do on a day-to-day basis. We go through life concerned and worried about things that we think that we don't have, instead of realizing that what we have is much more valuable, much more powerful than everything we may be wasting our time worrying about or thinking about that we lack. The truth is, having God alone is enough. God can transform any situation more than any struggle or problem we have, just as a get-go. But God has created us with a unique identity. I always talk about the fingerprints, right? This is God's proof to us, his reminder to us every single day. Every day you look at your fingerprints, it's a reminder that we are unique, we are special, we are one of a kind. We are royalty, we are part of God's family tree, we are in his kingdom. What does that mean? God made you to be a king or a queen. But this is the key thing. You have to remember that you decide what kind of king or queen you're going to be. So me, I can decide, I know God's made me as a king, but I can decide, you know what, I'm just going to live like a fool. I'm going to live like I don't know who I am. Don't do that. Live like an empowered king or queen, because that's what God made you. God made you with a special gift, with special set of skills for you to use them to glorify him. And the more you do that, the more you embrace the identity of inheritance that you get through Christ. That will lead you to the place that God created you for. And all you have to do at that point is continue to live out using the gifts and skills that God has given you. And to simplify this, you are royalty. In times of difficulty, you either think about the difficulty of the moment and quit, or you think about difficult obstacles you've overcome in the past and go on to add this current thing to the list. So what does that mean, Israel? Well, look, I was having this conversation with a friend recently, and was talking about just exercise. He's started taking exercise a bit more seriously, and obviously he knows that exercises are something I do 6 times a week, and It's not long, but I just do it as just a consistent, right, to ensure that I continue to stay strong and active and healthy, etc. And he was talking about how he was really pumped because recently there was a day he didn't want to exercise, but he pushed through. And I was encouraging him and saying, look, well done, bro. This is so great, because the more you do that, the more you will have evidence when you have those experiences again, which can push you forward. I was explaining to him how days when I have those feelings now, because we all have those feelings, days where you just don't feel as strong or feel as good, and you're just like, you're going to get it done. And I was explaining to him how when I have those moments now, I think back to many of the days I've had in previous times where I felt like that, but gone through and done the work, done the workout, done the exercise, and felt so much better after. And I was saying to him, those are the ones which really feel like the best. But the powerful thing which you get from that is you now get to use that as evidence in the future. You now get to remind yourself, remember that time you weren't feeling that well, or you weren't feeling good, but you still did the exercise? This applies to it everywhere in life, just for the record, like business, work, etc. You can use those examples from the past to help you add this particular struggling time to the list of examples. So this example today, where you may not want to work out, you may not want to record the video, you may not want to sell the product, you may not want to make the offer, you may not want to record the ad or write the blog post or whatever it is, when you do it, this is another piece of evidence, another piece of proof that you can use in the future to remind yourself. Remember when you didn't want to do this, but you did it, and the results you got from it. Many people will look at this obstacle in front of them and say, I'm done, I'm not going to do it, and they quit because it's difficult. What we do as winners though is the opposite. We overcome that difficult obstacle because we remind ourselves of the times in the past where we didn't want to do it, but we did it anyway and overcame the obstacle. And then this current obstacle gets added to that long list, which gets bigger and bigger every single day the more you do this. And that's how you get stronger and stronger and stronger and better and better and better and get more results into the future. To simplify this, I said use the past. When there's people in the world who love you and show out for you, don't ever be distracted by people hating on you. It's so easy for us to look at a negative comment, or even to think about negative comments and feedback we may get from people who are just haters, or people who are they're agents of the enemy to try and discourage you and dishearten you. There are so many people out there who are for you in the world, who love you, who show out for you, who will speak well of you, who will uplift you. Focus on them in the moment. Don't allow someone to distract you from your destiny. Don't allow someone to rob you, to try and demonize you and make you feel like, you know what you're doing is wrong, if what you're doing is actually glorifying God and is actually a good and godly thing. I spend my time focusing more so on people who are for me, who love me, who will show out for me. And that's why I focus a lot on my bandwidth, the people that I've helped, the people that I'm helping, the people that I've helped. And at the same time, if people who are hating on me, I will use that as motivation. I'll use that as a teaching moment, as a learning lesson to help people improve as well, as I've done in the past. So these are 11 pieces of advice that every Christian needs in order to run a profitable online business successfully. I pray this video blesses you. And if you'd like to know the 5 things I would do if I was starting over to get to $10,000 a month ASAP, watch this video right here next. Go win, and God bless winner.